It's not much of a snow, but my manager told me not to come in because it's too dangerous. I suppose that's the perks of living in Atlanta where there's only one snowplower. Having come from Canada, this is a t-shirt weather. It's sunny, at least. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to get a copy of Miuni32 firmware and also show you how to compile it. I'm not gonna show you how to load it onto your board today. That will be on a follow-up video. And also, I'm gonna keep this video as simple as possible because everyone has different computer setup. A lot of people Windows, a lot of people use Mac OS, and a bunch of other people also use Linux. So it will be impossible for me to present you with a setup that works for everybody. Instead, I'm gonna just give you a brief summary on what has to be done, and you can put together the complete procedure yourself. Of course, the starting point with any sort of development effort, even if you're making one key change on the layout, the starting point should be the original documentation of QMK firmware project. For that, you can go to QMK firmware website, or you can go to github.com/bigtunaio and click on the link to QMK firmware. So let me see. If you go to github.com/bigtunaio, you should see a few repositories, and then you can just click on QMK firmware, which should bring you a list of files that make up the firmware itself, and also give you a bit of overview of the project. So of course, Jack Humbert has done a great job developing and maintaining QMK, and you can find the original documentation or the wiki here, and that should give you all the resources you need to set your own computer up to not only edit the layout, but also to compile the code. So step one, read the wiki, follow the instructions, and then load a copy of QMK firmware from my repository onto your development environment, and that I already have done myself. So I use Ubuntu, which runs on a virtual machine on my Windows computer, and yeah. So what you see on this web page is exactly the same as what you see in the terminal in terms of content, and because all you want to do is just make a few changes in the layout of Miuni32, you can go straight to Miuni32 folder, and never mind all the configuration files of the board. You can just go to key maps and go to default and edit the keymap.c file. You should see the layout, and feel free to make any necessary changes you want. In this case, say I want to make say I want to use a Miuni32 with a single unit spacebar, which means I have one extra key to the left of it. So by default, it says there's no key, and I can make it an enter key. So that is all you gotta do. Figure out your own layout, and find out the key codes of your keys, and edit this very file and save it up. Go back to the top directory of QMK firmware, and then just to make Miuni32. Here you should see something like this. It shouldn't be, the output shouldn't be too long, and certainly you shouldn't see any error messages. If you see a bunch of text flying by you, it probably means that you either have a typo in the file that you just edited, or your computer is missing a tool or a library. To fix the latter case, go back to the wiki of QMK firmware and just run through the setup instruction again. So with this, you should see a .hex file or a few .hex files. Because I made a change in the default key map, this is the one. This is the hex file, or the file that contains the layout that we made a change to, and this is a file that you will be loading onto your board. Yeah, so that it's as simple as that. I think depending on your level of experience, the initial setup process could take a while, but there are ample amount of resources and instructions on how to set you up with the QMK firmware development. So yeah, start with that, and then get a copy of the repository or the firmware code, and then you can do whatever you like. So once you are finished with the .hex file, the next thing you gotta do is flash it onto your Miuni32. That I'll show you how on the next video.